Hello, everyone, and welcome to another week. It is Wednesday, and that means it's time for Wellness Wednesday. And this is your go-to weekly hangout for mini live trainings to learn how to create wellness in all areas of your life. And today we're going to talk about low sugar, no alcohol mocktails that you can use to swap for those nights that you kind of want to stay away from the alcohol. And they're delicious, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a show and tell. I've been doing some things in my test kitchen, so I'm hoping that you're excited and you want to try some of these. But in case you don't know who I am, my name is Sherry Starr, and I am your life, health, and happiness coach. And it is just my mission to help you to live in a body that you love and that feels really amazing, and also to live a life that lights you up. So that's why I come here every Wednesday to talk to you about different ways that you can do that. And today we're going to talk all about mocktails. So I don't know about you, maybe you drink alcohol, maybe you don't. And regardless if you do or you don't, I think you're going to get some benefit from this training today because I'm going to show you guys some ways to make your regular drinks more delicious, the ones that don't have alcohol in them. Hi, everybody. Oh, hey, Lyd. I see that you just joined us. How's it going? Oh my gosh, it must be so late for you all the way in Norway. But here we are. If you're just joining us, we are going to be talking today about how to make your non-alcoholic beverages delicious so that when you're trying to maybe ease up on the nightly alcohol drinking, if that's kind of crept into your life a little bit, these are some tips for you guys. So we're going to get started, and please join the conversation. Give me some clues that you can hear me and that you're feeling what I'm giving out so that I know that this is beneficial to you. So first, I want to talk about alcohol a little bit. I am definitely not wanting to demonize it. I love having my occasional cocktails and wine, especially wine. I love red wine. And as you may know, there's a lot of controversy about how many drinks we should be having a week, how many a day, and if we should be drinking at all. And if we do drink, what are the best drinks to have, right? So there are so many conflicting opinions, especially in the nutrition world, as there are in every other topic when it comes to nutrition. So I'm going to give you what I've been kind of following. So I believe that I think a 5-ounce glass of wine every night is probably fine. Now, I think the most important thing is to listen to your body and try to find that sweet spot. So what I've read and the research that I've read too is that all about 5 ounces is 1 serving. Now, I think that most people don't really adhere to that as being 1 glass. Most restaurants don't even pour a 5-ounce glass. So you just have to kind of be honest with yourself to notice whether or not you're really just drinking 5 ounces. You might be needing to cut back a little bit. But like I said, you have to listen to your body. Some people can handle that. Some people feel great the next day, no problems. But for me, I notice that when I take my nightly wine drinking, if it turns into, 2 glasses or even nightly for me, it's just not beneficial to me. I wake up a little bit more foggy brained. I wake up feeling not as excited about my day. I'm not as clear-minded. I don't have as good word recall. And it kind of just starts accumulating. It might not be the next day or the day after, but if I continue to drink 1 or 2 or 3 glasses of wine regularly, I just start noticing it starts to diminish my energy and my light, right? And I don't like that because I'm here to do big things just like you are. You wouldn't be here listening to this if you weren't trying to show up for yourself in some big way. And so I just really encourage you to check it out and see if maybe you could just pull the reins a little bit, not suggesting that you stop drinking altogether. But that way, when you do have a drink, it's going to really be amazing, right? You're going to really enjoy it, and it's going to give you all those benefits of the relaxation and that feeling like you're on vacation and all of that, right? And the bonding that you have with friends and family too, because that is part of the drinking experience, right? There's lots of benefits. Not to mention, if you do drink red wine, or if you drink wine, I would say red is the best because it does have that resveratrol. It's a hard one to say. It's got resveratrol in it, which is an antioxidant, and that really does help bring that content up to a level of being beneficial to you. Now, having said that, nowadays the wine companies are starting to pour a lot of added sugar into our wine, and there is no regulation about putting it on a label. So if you notice, you buy a bottle of wine and it doesn't say on the back how many grams of sugar you're drinking. And if it did have that on there, I'm pretty sure you would not be drinking most of the wine that we buy at the grocery store. And so I do have something coming up that's pretty exciting. I'm going to be doing a wine tasting with one of my friends who has just started a new wine company called Secco Wines. I'm giving Matt a little shout out right now for free. And we're going to do a little wine tasting because he's got a very low sugar content in his wine, and it's naturally occurring. It's not an added sugar, and the grapes are higher quality because they've been slowly grown and they retain all their nutrients. Anyway, he can tell you more about that when we do our wine tastings, but there are options out there for low sugar wines. But today, I really want to focus on just taking a break from alcohol. And the reason why I thought about this in general is because I'm conducting a 5-day detox right now with some of my girls. And in fact, one of them is watching right now. That's Lydia. And we are taking out alcohol this week. And so what I've noticed is when we take away the alcohol, people are starting to get a little bit anxious at night, maybe 5 o'clock. What is it that we drink when we're not having our nightly wine or a beer or your cocktail, right? So I want to relieve that stress and get you set up so that you can actually enjoy your drinks, even if they're non-alcoholic. And there's a couple tricks that I have to make them more festive. So we're going to go ahead and get started. For those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about mocktails and how to make them delicious. And that way you can take a break from your potentially weekly or nightly alcohol drinking. Not saying it's a bad thing. I just want you to check in with yourself and see if you're getting the benefits, or if maybe it's starting to get to that point where maybe you need to take a little step back and have a few nights a week where you're not drinking alcohol. And so there are a few things that I want you to have. This one is the most important one, I think, to bring new flavors into your regular drinks, right? So you've probably heard of this, but this is called a muddler. And what this does, it has an end on it that's kind of like a meat tenderizer. And what you do is you smash fruit or mint leaves or things like that. This is a really important thing if you want to infuse more flavor into your drinks without adding sugar and the kind of like sugar-free mixers that you can buy, things like that. You know, I try to stay away from those. I like to use natural occurring ingredients. So that's why you want to get one of these. This was about, I don't know, $6 at the grocery store, and this is called a muddler. Now you want to muddle in a bowl. I don't have it with me right now, but you want to just smash it up. Okay, so the reason why that's important is because many of the drinks that I'm going to show you today actually use a muddler. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Okay, and then the next thing you're going to need is some kind of a bubbly drink, right? So this is Pellegrino. You can use soda water. I would say probably not tonic water because there is a lot more sugar in tonic water. So if you want to do a low sugar option, you want to do something like Pellegrino. Okay, another thing to infuse some flavor, obviously, is limes or lemons. I ran out of lemons because I was using them for my garnishes and for my actual drinks that I'm going to show you. But the limes and the lemons really add so much flavor. So when I'm not drinking alcohol, what I do is I go to the bartender and I ask for what I call it's called the wagon spritzer. Now I came up with this name because it makes me remember that I'm on the wagon. That means I'm not drinking. So I asked for soda water with a lot of lime. And I mean a lot because you don't want to taste that bland soda water, right? You could do a splash of fruit juice. However, remember, the more fruit juice you have, the more sugar you're adding. So just be careful with that. If I do that, I ask for a literal splash or a drip because they like to go overboard and put, mostly sugar in my glass, and I don't like that. So anyway, you'll need limes or lemons. Another thing to infuse some delicious flavor is ginger. This is a ginger root, and this is really great because it gives it that bite. So you want to, that bite that you get when you're drinking a good beer or you're drinking a good cocktail or a ginger beer, something like that. But ginger beer has a lot of sugar in it. So if you want to make your own, you can cut off a little chunk of this or a couple chunks and put it into some water in a pot and boil it for a few minutes. Maybe I do about 10 minutes. And it extracts all of this delicious ginger flavor and that bite that you're looking for. And then you can use that and strain out the chunks. You don't want to eat that. And then you can use that water as to put into your drink, that ginger water, okay, with ice and other things. All right, so that's one more thing. Another good thing to have is this. This is Zevia. Now this is good for those of you who love to drink soda. Now I definitely don't recommend drinking soda. This is sweetened with stevia. There are very few ingredients, and this one is ginger ale. And I like to use ginger flavored things for my mocktails because it does give it that kind of festive flavor. This one's not overpowering though, so it's a good one. And of course, if you do need to try something that's already made and you don't want to make your own ginger juice, this one is called Bai Antioxidant Infusion. And this is there's 1 gram of sugar, very low. I was scouring the grocery store today looking for things that I would approve of, but this one seems to be fine, and it's sweetened with stevia. So that's something you could use as a mixer. All right, so now that you've got everything that you need to get started, I'm gonna go ahead. Are you guys ready to hear my little secrets and see my show and tell drinks that I've made? Okay, cool. So I am going to start with my first one. So because wine is my favorite, this is going to be the first swap that I have for you. So see how I put it in a glass that looks like a wine, well, it is a wine glass. So it makes me feel like I'm drinking wine. Now this is, those of you who've been in my programs before, you know this is my favorite. This is actually just passion fruit hibiscus tea. And the reason why I like using this one is because it tastes delicious, and just squeezing some lemon in there. So I brew it hot, obviously with the tea bags, and then I pour it over ice, or I chill it in the refrigerator. This one was in a big carafe, and I just poured some of it out because I make it ahead of time. I like to have my stuff ready to go so that when I'm wanting to relax and I'm needing that feeling of, okay, work is done, it's time to chill, I need to have it ready to go. So I make it ahead of time. And I always use a festive glass because this makes me feel like I'm still getting those benefits of that relaxation that we imagine that we're getting from the alcohol, right? So here it is. It feels like it's time to party when you look at this, right? So I have plastic ones that I use from my backyard because most nights my husband and I like to sit in the hot tub and drink a little bit. He'll have his beer and I have my wine, but then on the nights I'm not drinking, I have this. Okay, so that is definitely a trick you want to think about. Put it in a fancy glass. That way you don't feel like you're missing out. Okay, so I have to tell you that I definitely don't have a ton of swaps for beer. And I'm so sorry for you, that those of you who love beer. I am not a big beer fan. So I haven't done that much work to try to mimic my beer taste because I don't really like it anyway. So I welcome anybody to come into the group, our Sherry Star Wellness Warriors. Google that for Facebook and come join us. It's for women only, but please give me some tips on anything that you guys love to swap for beer. The only one I came up with here is this little guy. Now this looks really much brighter than a beer, but this is my ginger turmeric lemonade. And this could be swapped for wine too, but it looks more like a beer. And it's delicious. It's where you take the ginger root like I talked about and you chop it up a little bit and you put it into the pot for a couple, I'd say 10 to 12 minutes of boiling, mostly boiling, and then down to simmer for a little while. And then you squeeze a bunch of lemons in there when it's done. You have to strain it. And so it's a little bit of a process, but it's really worth it. And I'm going to show you, this is how I store it. So I make a bunch and I have it ready to go. And so honestly, you guys, this makes me not miss my wine when I have all this deliciousness ready to go. Okay, so that's the beer swap I have for you. So if anybody has any ideas on what you guys like to swap for your beer, I would love to hear it. I just don't have a lot of need for that taste, so I haven't done that part yet, but I will be welcome to any kind of suggestions you have. Okay, so the next one. I have friends who love their Moscow mules. So I don't know if you guys do. You can give me like a thumbs up or a heart if you guys love your Moscow mules. but you know they have tons of sugar in them because that ginger beer. I was looking at the backs of the ginger beer bottles today when I was at the grocery store looking to help you guys with these swaps. And the average ginger beer has between 15 to 25 grams of sugar per serving. That's way too much sugar. Okay, so I came up with my own little mocktail for this. So you're going to use this Zevia ginger ale, right? But since it's mild, what I did was I used the muddler and I chopped up the ginger very thinly, and I actually kind of like a meat tenderizer, I pounded it a little bit, and I got the juices out, and then I put it into the glass with the ginger, and with the ginger ale, I mean, and then I muddled some mint leaves. Okay, I've got mint. I'm really doing a show and tell for you guys, so I've got mint leaves. You guys probably know what mint leaves look like, but this is what I did. So you muddle the mint leaves, you muddle the ginger, and so there's ginger on the bottom. Obviously, you could strain it if that bothers you, but I like it to sit in there as long as possible so it really infuses that bite that we're looking for, that really tangy flavor. If you like ginger, you're going to love this. And then, of course, I squeezed a whole lime because I really like a lot of lime flavor too. Now, for those of you who don't like lime, I know some of you don't, you can do lemon, and that would be just as good. But this is so delicious. I was testing it this morning, and I was actually like, this is really good. I will definitely be drinking this. So, Lydia, you are definitely going to want to try this one. You can try it tonight. You probably have all those ingredients already. All right, so moving on. Okay, I kind of experimented with this one. I'm loving my muddler. You guys remember me talking about that. So I made this one. I call this my raspberry lime fizz. So basically, just like my wagon spritzer, right? It's just the Pellegrino or the soda water with a bunch of lime, and then I muddled some raspberries. So I took, I don't know, a handful of raspberries, and I used the muddler, and I just smashed them up. It almost started to look like a jam. And I smashed them up, and then I put them in the bottom of this and stirred it. Now, of course, you're going to have this muddled raspberry on the bottom, but I think that's delicious. But you could always strain it if you want. But what I noticed was when I did this, there is no sugar, there's no stevia, there's no honey, there's no agave, there's nothing in here. And it is so good because those raspberries, they have juice in them, and it's so delicious. So anyway, got to try that. That's my raspberry lime fizz. And lastly, we have, this was a fun experiment too. My husband bought a watermelon from Costco, and I thought that would be fun to try to make a mocktail with that. So I went ahead and used that. Oh, I forgot to bring, oh no, I have it. So I used the watermelon. What I did was I sliced it really thin, and I used my favorite muddler, and I really got that juice out. So I used the juice and whatever was left after muddling. And I put it in the bottom of the glass. I put a bunch of ice in there, and then I put some coconut water. Now, coconut water does have some naturally occurring sugar. It's actually got 5 grams in this for 2 servings. So, you know, there is some sugar in here, but it's way less than most of the things that you're going to find in a cocktail. And it's natural. This is just natural coconut water. There's nothing else in here. It's just organic coconut water. So if you're going to do that, I would say try that, and then put the coconut water with the muddled watermelon. And this is, again, you do not need any sugar at all. I did put a squeeze of lemon in here just because I like that, but it's something to try. I think that you guys might like that too. So my question today for you guys is, what are you going to swap this week? And if so, are they any of the ones that I've shown you today, or do you have your own swap? I would love for you to join that conversation over in our private Facebook group today at Sherry Star Wellness Warriors. You can Google that. You can request to be one of the members in that group. If you're one of the ladies, this is for women only. And I would love to hear your input. Please try these drinks. And also, you know, keep an eye on what's coming up, because every week right here at the same time, we're going to be doing more mini trainings on things that you guys really want to know about. And so I do these trainings, the topics, based on the feedback that I'm getting from you. These are questions that I get from my clients in my groups, and from the Facebook groups. So if you want to weigh in and get your questions answered, then please get into that group and join that conversation. And I want to close with a little gratitude. As always, I am so grateful that you're here with me and that we can share this space together. And I really hope that you have fun trying these cocktails. So until next Wednesday, I will see you then. Bye.